The day started like any other for Jake. He was a young, ambitious explorer, assigned to a mission in the outer regions of the galaxy. His task was simple: survey the area and report back. He had done this 100 times before, but today something felt different. There was an eerie silence in the air, almost as if the universe itself was holding its breath. As he walked through the dense alien forest, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He paused, glancing around. The trees were tall and twisted, their leaves glowing faintly in the dim light. The air smelled sweet, but carried an undercurrent of something else, something he couldn't quite place. Suddenly, a rustle in the bushes caught his attention. He tensed, his hand instinctively reaching for the blaster at his side. But before he could react, a figure stepped out from the shadows. She was tall, her skin shimmering with a soft, iridescent glow. Her eyes were a deep, almost mesmerizing shade of violet. The alien woman stood before him, her beauty unlike anything he had ever seen. She was dressed in strange, intricate armor that seemed to hum with energy. Jake stared at her, momentarily speechless. Her presence was intoxicating, almost magnetic. He had encountered aliens before, but none like her. Her beauty was undeniable. Yet there was something otherworldly about her, something that made him uneasy. "Who are you?" Jake finally asked, his voice steady but filled with curiosity. The alien woman tilted her head slightly, as if considering him. "I am Eureka," she said in a voice that was soft yet commanding, "and I have come for you." Jake raised an eyebrow, confused. "For me? What do you mean?" Eureka took a step closer, her movements fluid and graceful, like a predator closing in on its prey. "You have made me wet," she said, her voice low and sensual. "Now, fix it with your mouth." The words hit him like a punch to the gut. Jake stood frozen, unsure of how to respond. He had heard of alien customs, but this was unlike anything he had ever imagined. The intensity in her eyes told him she wasn't joking. She wasn't playing some kind of game. There was a real urgency in her tone. Jake swallowed hard, trying to process what was happening. He had always been the type to stay calm in intense situations, but this was different. He had no idea who she was or what she wanted from him. But there was something about her that drew him in, something that made it impossible to turn away. Eureka smiled, a playful yet seductive expression. "Don't worry, human. I will explain everything soon enough. But for now, you must fulfill my request." The words hung in the air, and Jake felt the weight of them pressing down on him. What did she mean by "fix it"? And why had she chosen him? The forest seemed to close in around him, the silence deafening as he waited for her next move. He had no idea what kind of adventure he was stepping into. But one thing was certain: his life was about to change forever. The alien woman's eyes never left Jake, her gaze intense and unwavering. The silence between them was thick, charged with an energy Jake couldn't explain. He felt an odd pull, a magnetic attraction that made his heart race. He had heard of alien species with unique ways of communicating, but he never imagined it would be this direct, this intense. Joris took another step closer, her movements so fluid it was as if she was gliding rather than walking. The air around her seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly energy. "You don't understand yet, do you?" Her voice was soft but powerful, wrapping around him like a velvet rope, drawing him in. "You're kind. You don't know the true meaning of connection. But you will learn, Jake." He stood frozen, still processing what had just happened. She had appeared out of nowhere, made a strange, almost absurd request, and now here she was, standing just inches away from him, waiting for him to do something, anything. The weight of her gaze pressed down on him, filling him with a mix of confusion, curiosity, and something else, something he hadn't felt in a long time: desire. "I know what you must be thinking," she continued, her lips curving into a knowing smile. "This is strange, unusual, but it's the only way. To truly understand me, to connect with me, you must do this." Her words seemed to hang in the air, their meaning slipping through his mind like water. What did she want from him? He had no idea how to react, what to say. But one thing was clear: he couldn't just walk away from this. There was something in her presence that held him captive, something that made every part of his body want to move closer. Even though his mind screamed at him to run, she tilted her head, studying him like a scientist observing an experiment. "You humans are so interesting," she mused, her voice almost playful. "You hide your desires behind layers of shame, but deep down you crave what I offer." I can feel it, Jake. His pulse quickened at the mention of his name. He had never felt more exposed in his life. Every fiber of his being screamed to pull away, yet his feet felt rooted to the spot. The air between them crackled, charged with a promise he couldn't understand, but knew he was too intrigued to deny. Urisa stepped forward, her hand grazing his chest. Her touch was cool, but the heat that followed seemed to surge through him. "Don't be afraid," she whispered, her breath brushing against his ear. "This is not a punishment. It's an opportunity, an invitation, an invitation." The word echoed in his mind, but it didn't make sense. What was she offering? What was he supposed to do? Her touch lingered on his chest, making him feel both terrified and exhilarated at the same time. "Just trust me," Urisa whispered again, her lips brushing against his ear. "Let go of your doubts, Jake. The world you know is not what it seems. There is so much more beyond your comprehension. I will show you, if you choose to accept." The challenge hung between them like a breath held too long. Jake was no longer sure of anything. The alien woman had captured his attention completely, and as much as he tried to fight it, he found himself leaning in, drawn to her in a way he couldn't explain. And just like that, the world around him faded, leaving only Urisa and the choices he would have to make in the moments to come. Jake's mind raced, struggling to keep up with the whirlwind of emotions and confusion that swirled around him. Every word Urisa spoke sent ripples through his thoughts, and with every passing second, he felt himself being pulled deeper into her world. He couldn't deny it any longer. He was fascinated, drawn to her in ways that felt foreign, almost primal. The alien woman had a hold on him that went beyond logic, beyond reason. It was as if she was calling to something deep within him, something buried for years, something he didn't even know existed. Urisa stepped back, her eyes studying him with an intensity that made him feel like she was peeling away the layers of his soul. "You still don't understand, do you?" Her voice was calm, almost soothing, but there was a force behind it that made his heart beat faster. "What you see, what you feel, it's all part of something greater." She circled him, and Jake felt his body instinctively turning with her, as if he couldn't look away. There was something hypnotic about the way she moved, effortless, graceful, like she was a part of the very air itself. "This," she continued, "is not just about physical desires. This is about connection. True connection, Jake, the kind of bond that transcends the boundaries of our species." He tried to focus, tried to make sense of her cryptic words, but his mind was clouded, his senses overwhelmed by her presence. He had never met anyone or anything like her. She wasn't just an alien. She was something otherworldly, something that stirred emotions in him he couldn't name. Her hand gently brushed his arm, sending a jolt of electricity through him. "You humans are so limited by your perceptions of reality," she whispered, her lips dangerously close to his ear. "You think everything is black and white, but it's not. The universe is filled with shades of gray connections that go far beyond the physical, and I have shown you one of them." Jake shivered, not from the cold, but from the intensity of her words. He wanted to pull away, to make sense of this strange encounter, but his body betrayed him. He was rooted to the spot, drawn to her in a way he couldn't explain. What was this feeling? It was as if he was standing on the edge of something vast and uncharted, and the only thing that mattered was whether he would step forward or stay where he was. Jorisa's eyes locked with his, and in that moment, it was as though she was reading his thoughts, seeing into the very core of who he was. "You've felt it, haven't you?" she said softly. "That spark, that pull. It's not just me. It's in you too. We are connected, Jake, whether you acknowledge it or not." The words echoed in his mind, and for the first time, Jake realized she wasn't just speaking in riddles. There was a deeper truth in what she was saying, something he couldn't grasp fully, but felt in his bones. He had never been a man to believe in fate or destiny, but standing in front of Urisa, he couldn't help but wonder if this was more than coincidence. She was offering him something dangerous, something unknown but at the same time, something irresistible. Joris smiled, sensing his inner turmoil. "I can give you answers, Jake. I can show you things you've never imagined." But first, you must choose. You must choose whether you'll follow me or whether you'll walk away." The silence that followed felt like an eternity. The choice lay heavy on his shoulders. His mind screamed at him to leave, to walk away from this alien woman and the unknown world she represented. But his heart, his instincts, urged him to stay, to embrace whatever came next. And in that moment, Jake realized that he wasn't just standing on the edge of an unknown world. He was standing on the edge of himself. Jake's breath caught in his throat as Jarissa's gaze deepened, her eyes sparkling with an intensity that felt almost otherworldly. There was no turning back now. He had crossed some invisible threshold, and whatever lay ahead, he couldn't shake the feeling that his life, his entire understanding of reality, was about to change forever. She stepped closer, her presence overwhelming, as if the very space around them pulsed with her energy. "You still don't understand, do you?" she whispered, her lips brushing against his ear, sending a shiver down his spine. Her words were soft, almost tender, but there was something undeniably powerful in them, something that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. "You think you're in control. You think you can decide what happens next. But you can't, Jake. You never could." His heart pounded in his chest, and he struggled to steady himself. This wasn't just about desire anymore. There was something primal, something deep and ancient in the way Urisa moved, in the way she spoke, as if she were a force of nature, beyond human comprehension. Her words weren't just a request, they were a command. And whether he wanted to admit it or not, something inside him longed to obey. Jarissa's fingers brushed against his jaw, her touch cool and delicate. "Do you feel it, Jake?" she murmured, her voice low, vibrating with hidden meaning. "The pull between us, the bond that's starting to form?" Her touch moved to his lips, lingering there for a moment, sending a shock of heat through his body. This is no ordinary attraction. It's the beginning of something much greater. Jake's breath came in ragged bursts, his mind racing to catch up. What was she talking about? A bond. He had heard of alien connections, but this felt different. The air was thick with tension, with something unspoken, but undeniably present. He had never felt more vulnerable, yet strangely alive. Her fingers traced down his neck, then to his chest, sending sparks through his body with each touch. Jake was torn, his mind telling him to pull away, but his body betraying him. He wanted this, needed this. His resistance was crumbling with every passing second, and all he could do was stand there, feeling the pull of her presence like an unbreakable force. "You think I'm asking for something small," Urisa continued, her voice almost a whisper now. "But what I'm asking for is everything. Everything that you are." Her eyes flicked down to his lips, and Jake felt a surge of heat flood his body. There was no escape. "I don't just want your touch, Jake. I want your soul. I want you to surrender to me." Her words wrapped around him like a spell, a promise of something so deep, so intense, he couldn't even begin to fathom it. He wanted to resist, to pull away, but every instinct in his body screamed for him to lean in, to let go, to fall into the connection she was offering. The world outside of them seemed to fade away, leaving only Urisa and the overwhelming desire to bridge the gap between their worlds. The space between them closed even further, and for a moment, it felt as if time itself had stopped. Jake could feel the weight of her presence pressing against him, the heat of her body, the electric charge that surged through him. This wasn't just an encounter, it was a collision of two worlds, two beings, one human, one alien. And it was just the beginning. With a soft, knowing smile, Urisa whispered, "Are you ready, Jake, to truly understand what it means to be part of me?" The question lingered in the air, heavy with meaning. And as Jake stood there, unable to move, unable to speak, he realized that his answer didn't matter. The choice had already been made. Jake's mind spun as he stood there, caught in a web of emotions he couldn't untangle. Jarissa's words echoed in his head, each one lingering like a silent promise. "Are you ready?" She had asked, ready for what? What exactly was she offering, and what did it mean for him to surrender, as she had so confidently suggested? The space around them felt charged, as if the very air was crackling with unseen energy. Her eyes never wavered from his, watching him, studying him, as if she could see everything he was thinking, every doubt, every hesitation. Jake tried to steady himself, but the overwhelming pull of her presence was too much. His body reacted to her, responding to something deep inside him that he couldn't control, couldn't understand. Urisa took another step closer, her cool fingers grazing his skin once again. This time, he didn't flinch. There was no fear, no resistance, just an undeniable desire to give in, to follow her lead. She smiled, sensing his change. It wasn't just the physical attraction anymore. It was something far deeper, something intangible that connected them in a way that went beyond the physical realm. "Why are you afraid, Jake?" she whispered, her voice low and seductive. "You can feel it, can't you? This bond between us, it's something that can't be broken. You're mine now, just as I am yours." The words sent a chill through him. The weight of them, of the connection they shared, felt too real to ignore. He had never experienced anything like this before. It was as if he had been thrust into a world where logic and reason no longer applied, where his own desires were the only things that mattered. Jarisa's hand slid to his chest, feeling the rapid beat of his heart beneath his skin. "I know you're scared," she continued, her voice soft but filled with power. "But you have to trust me. You've already crossed the line, Jake. There's no going back. The choice isn't yours anymore. You belong to me, and I belong to you." The certainty in her voice sent a rush of adrenaline through him. He could feel the pull stronger than before, guiding him toward her. The rational part of his mind screamed for him to stop, to pull away, but every part of his body, every instinct, screamed for him to stay. Her lips were only inches away now, and Jake could hear her breathing, feel the warmth radiating from her. The air between them felt thick, charged with the weight of what was about to happen. He could see the flicker of something dangerous in her eyes, a fire that matched the one building inside of him. "Do you trust me now?" Jarisa's voice was barely above a whisper, but the intensity of her words sent a shiver down his spine. Jake's throat was dry. He wanted to say no. He wanted to pull away and make sense of all of this, but his body betrayed him. Every part of him yearned for the connection she was offering, and in that moment, he understood. This wasn't just about what was happening between them. This was about something greater, a bond forged in a way he had never imagined. As she closed the distance between them, Jake gave in. His lips met hers, and for a brief moment, everything else ceased to exist. The doubts, the fears, the uncertainty gone. All that remained was the fire between them, and the beginning of something neither of them could ever take back. The kiss was electric, a surge of energy that flooded Jake's senses, leaving him breathless. As his lips met Jarisa's, something inside him snapped like a long-held breath released in a moment of surrender. Her touch was intoxicating, her presence undeniable, and for the first time, Jake stopped questioning, stopped fighting the pull. His mind, still fogged by the overwhelming sensations, tried to catch up, but all he could focus on was her, the warmth of her skin against his, the intoxicating heat that seemed to radiate from her very being. Urisa pulled back slightly, her lips lingering close to his, her breath soft but steady. "You feel it now," she whispered, her voice thick with an emotion he couldn't name. It wasn't just desire, it was something deeper, something that transcended the physical. "This connection we share, it's not just about us, Jake. It's about something much bigger." Jake could only nod, his breath shaky as he tried to process her words, but nothing made sense anymore. There was only the bond they had created, this strange, undeniable tie that had formed between them. The questions that had once filled his mind, why this, seemed irrelevant now. It was as if the universe itself had conspired to bring them together, to draw them into this cosmic dance. Jarisa's hand slid down his chest again, her touch slow, deliberate. Her fingers traced the outline of his muscles, sending ripples of pleasure through him. "I knew you were different," she murmured, her lips brushing against his neck. "Your kind is more capable than you realize, Jake. You've just forgotten what you're truly capable of. But I will remind you." The words stirred something inside him, something dark and primal. She wasn't just talking about their connection. She was talking about him, about what he could become if he allowed himself to fully embrace what she was offering. The thought both terrified and thrilled him. Was he ready to fully let go? Was he ready to surrender everything to her, to whatever this bond was between them? Jarisa's eyes locked with his again, her gaze deep and penetrating. "You think you understand, but you don't," she said softly. "Not yet." But you will. In time, Jake, you'll see the truth. What we share, it's only the beginning." The words hung in the air, their weight heavy between them. There was no turning back now. No escape from the bond they had forged. Jake had crossed a line, and there was no way to undo what had been set in motion. All he could do now was follow, to see where this strange, dangerous path would lead them. And as he looked into Jarissa's eyes, he knew, without a doubt, that he was already too far gone to turn back. The tension in the air was palpable, heavy with everything they had shared up until now. Jake stood there, caught between the pull of the alien woman before him and the overwhelming realization of just how much his life had changed in such a short time. Jarissa's eyes never wavered from his, and it was as though she could see right into him, into the heart of his doubts, his desires, and everything in between. There was no pretending, no distance left. He was here completely, and so was she. Jarissa took a slow step forward, closing the gap between them once more. Her presence seemed to fill the space around them, the air thick with the power she radiated. Jake could feel his heart pounding in his chest, the beat in sync with the sudden clarity that rushed through him. This wasn't just about attraction anymore. It wasn't just a strange encounter with a beautiful alien. This was about something far more profound, something that connected them in ways that defied understanding. "You've come this far, Jake," Jarissa whispered, her voice low and laced with something that felt almost like a promise. "And now there's no turning back." Jake swallowed hard, the weight of her words sinking in. What had started as a simple mission, a routine exploration, had spiraled into something unrecognizable. He had crossed into a world he had never imagined, and now there was no escape. The bond they shared wasn't something he could walk away from. He had already given in. Let his heart and mind become tangled with hers in ways that could never be undone. "I never asked for this," Jake said, his voice barely a whisper. His words felt weak, almost out of place in the intense silence between them. But even as he spoke, he knew it wasn't true. Deep down, he had wanted this connection, had desired it since the moment they met. The question now was whether he was strong enough to accept it, to let it shape him into something new. Jarissa smiled, a slow, knowing smile, and her fingers gently brushed against his jaw. "You don't need to ask for what's already yours," she said softly. "What we have, Jake, is something that exists outside of time and space. It's inevitable." Her words hung in the air, as if the universe itself was aligning with them. Everything that had happened, every step they had taken toward each other, had led to this moment. Jake felt the weight of it all, the magnitude of their connection settling deep within him. He wasn't just a human anymore. He was something more, a part of something bigger than himself. Jarissa's hand reached for his, and as their fingers intertwined, the finality of it hit him. There was no turning back, no hesitation left in him. Whatever came next, whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them together. The future stretched out before them, unknown, dangerous, and thrilling, and as Jake held her hand, he realized that this was just the beginning of a journey he had never imagined, one that would change everything he thought he knew about himself, about the universe, and about what it meant to truly connect with someone.